Hello and welcome to Altura Learning's Bridge webinar. My name's Adrian and today we will be discussing Bridge checkpoints. I have Tim Lambert with me here today, but before we get started, can you just explain to everyone what checkpoints are?
Good idea. Thanks, Adrian. Hi, everybody. Checkpoints are a great way to assign tasks to your learners. And these could be things from police checks to external training to anything else that your organization needs to record. So we're going to dive into it today. And when you're done, I hope you'll enjoy using checkpoints in Bridge. So let's get started, and I'm going to share my screen with you now. As you can see now, we have the Bridge user interface, and I am in the checkpoints area of Bridge right now. And I've highlighted a COVID-19 infection control training checkpoint as an example that we can go through. So let's go through what this checkpoint does, and I'm just going to switch tabs here and show you, as I've opened the checkpoint record, what you can expect to see when you're in Bridge. So each checkpoint has a title and a description that you can enter in. As you can see, we don't have a description here, but a good way to get started and to help learners understand is to have a detailed checkpoint. And this could be, a description of the type of training, and it just allows the learner to have a quick synopsis of what they're going to learn. So you type that in, and then you can click on the Save button. You have your title, and then down below you have a number of different other settings which we're going to unpack for you. So one thing you want to do when you sort of set up a checkpoint is have an idea of what the task is and what you want the learner to do in a very simple and short, concise statement. Right? And so when you do that, when you put together a list of tasks, you often tend to oversimplify it because you do it all the time. But if you're sending it out to learners, a pro tip is simplify, practice, and show your colleagues and enroll each other and test once you've set up a practice checkpoint.
But make sure it's easy to understand?
Yeah, exactly right, Adrian. Make sure it's easy to understand, and that way you'll have better engagement from your learners. So with this particular checkpoint, you'll notice that we have a couple of different menu options here. One is to edit, which we'll do shortly. Another one here allows you to do more actions. Here you can send messages to your checkpoint task participants. In here I can signal messages to people who are overdue, who haven't done their task, or just to everyone in a very generic format. And here I can edit my checkpoints. This little pencil is where we're going to click on next. So if you follow along and click on that pencil, I'll show you a formatted training task that we've set up. So above we've put in a nice sort of this was copied, I think, from our COVID-19 training materials. We have a little attachment widget which you can click on to attach anything, and this can be even things from Canva or software that's shared for images, and then follows the steps. So what do you want the learner to do? And in here, and this is an example we can share with you if you contact our customer success team, you can use this as a template. You have the instructions, which are you're required to complete the COVID-19 training and follow the steps. Now, we didn't just conjure these up out of nowhere or from AI. We had to go through and take the training ourselves and sort of break it down into concise, easily digestible steps that we thought our learners could follow along with. And then after that, we refined it further. But basically, it tells them to open their browser, go to a website, click on the buttons to go through their training. Of course, they have to pass the training, and they have to do a knowledge check and download. And so with checkpoints, what you can also do is you can allow the learner, once they've completed the task, to submit evidence. Evidence could be a certificate or a document or a test, and then you can have an approver on the Bridge side. The approver is a manager. The manager might look at that certificate to make sure it's not a picture of something else and it's not legitimate. And then they can approve your checkpoint. And that date and all that record is kept, and you can be compliant from there on.
So are they submitting text or other forms of communication?
That's a great question. Let's go through that process. So I'll close this sort of instructions area, but you would simply, in editing this, just click and publish on the publish button once you're happy with your changes. And of course, you can go back in and edit. But let's talk about that, about what you would do. So we have sent an enrollment to this fictitious user. So what happens is when we enroll a user in the checkpoint, they get an email notification, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
They have to know that they have to do it. And so that learner will get their email and it will have the details that we just saw, explaining what you have to do step by step.
Right.
Now, what they would do next is they will click on a button and browse to an attachment that they've downloaded, in this particular case for training, and click on a submit button. And the approver will get a notification where they can check the submitted checkpoint to see
Mm-hmm.
whether it's correct. So that's what's happened here. And if we look at this particular user, we can view their notifications here and see that they've been enrolled in this particular training. And this is kind of what they'll see. And your logo may be different here. This is just demonstration data. And if they click on View Checkpoint, which will show you the Submit button, then it'll all come together, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So long answer to your short question, but I think that's quite relevant, Adrian. So let's just pivot to this particular user, and we'll see what it is that they see. So I'll just go back here and jump into this user. So Bridge allows you to alias as a user, to jump in to see what they see. And that's what we're going to do as an exercise, to just kind of see what the learner experiences here. So I'm going to click on this button, which is Become, to alias the user. And as we wait for this to load, I'm just going to tell you that we're going into their learning dashboard now. So this is what they'll see. They have to do this checkpoint here, COVID-19 infection control. So let's see what they have to submit. I'll click on the Start button. And once I do, what's going to happen is I'm going to see a more sort of interactive version of the edited instructions that we saw.
Mm-hmm.
They'll read through this and hopefully it'll make sense if you've written it well. This one is rather lengthy. But when you get to the bottom, you can see there's an evidence section here. And yes, this is where you would submit your document. Now I'll go ahead and submit just anything that I can find here, which is, maybe just an image, but let's suppose that this is a certificate. Once I do, and this file is sort of ready for uploading, the screen will update. You can see I've attached my certificate,
Mm-hmm.
and I can request approval. And here's my message to my boss, Alita Ali. Hi, Alita. All done. Please review, or whatever you want to say, and then request approval. Yeah, and that's really it. Once you've completed your checkpoint, it can be rejected if it's not correct, and it will remain in your learning area. As a learner, you have to kind of do it again. And you can, just like you sent a note to Alita, your approver can send a note back to you explaining why, perhaps if they've rejected it,
Mm-hmm.
if you need to redo it. Yes, and so that's the whole sort of process that you can set up checkpoints with. So we've come full circle now, and we're back to the process of setting up the checkpoints. I hope, did that process make sense to you?
Yes, it did.
Excellent, thank you. Well, the other thing we want to talk about is there is a whole world of nuanced settings that you can avail yourself of with checkpoints. And this can become quite important If, say, you want a police check, which will be recurring, and then you can have it sort of repeat. So you have an expire setting. So your police check might be valid for only 365 days. What you can do is turn this on, and it will create a new checkpoint after 365 days, prompting you to get another police clearance. So there's quite a few nice features that you can look at in the settings. I don't want to go into too much detail, but they're all here. And so as we wrap things up, we just want to encourage first-time users of checkpoints to take it step by step. And if you do need help, you can always reach out to the customer success team and to Bridge as well, and we'll get you started. And I hope you enjoy checkpoints.
Thanks, Tim. Well, we hope you enjoyed our webinar today. Don't forget, if you have any questions, please reach out to our customer success team and join us next time when we talk about how to prepare for annual mandatory training. Bye for now.
Bye.